Hello everyone, welcome to our next session on the Smart Stage here on day three, Event Tech Live, US and Canada. This session is all about how you can boost engagement and monetize your events through gamification. Joining me for this session is Dimash, the CEO and founder at Engamio. Dimash, welcome to the session.
Thank you so much, Adam, for a warm introduction, and thank you for this great event. It's a really a great pleasure to be here today. And hi, everyone. Welcome to our session. I think we can start the slides. Yeah, awesome. So today I will try to share some thoughts, ideas, and practices that we utilize at Engamio and on how to boost engagement and monetization at virtual, hybrid, and in-person events through the means of gamification. But before we start, I should warn you that this topic, the topic of gamification, is huge. It's very interesting, very deep, and I will not be able to cover all of the aspects. But what I'll try to do is to show a couple of cases, use cases, when we think we were able to deliver good results when we embedded the gamification into the process. So a quick intro of myself. Like Adam said, I'm the CEO and founder of Engamio, a tech venture, and basically we are offering a range of different gamified engagement and sponsorship solutions. And back in the days, I had my own event agency, and we had several international event brands in our portfolio. Before then, we got acquired by an international group of companies, and then I decided it's a good time to go and do my MBA degree. So recently I finished an MBA. I completed an MBA at Schulich School of Business here in Toronto. Previous year was definitely a special one due to COVID, due to all these new things like virtual formats and pivoting, and like a couple of designations and went back to school. But in general, my background is in nuclear physics from Moscow State University, which helps me a lot in dealing with events and gamification. Let me give you a quick intro into the gaming industry. So first of all, the industry is huge, and some people don't realize that there are about 2.7 billion people playing games almost on a daily basis. And this number is constantly growing. And I would say that now we have several generations that were raised with the gaming devices in their hands. And myself, I can recall my childhood, and we had all these Game Boys and Sega and Dendy and different types of cartridges that we can embed into these platforms. So lots of people are playing games, and it's quite interesting that the profile of the gamers, the recent profile is the age is within the range of 35 to 44 years. So we are not saying that gamification is for kids and it's childish. Actually, we all do. We play these games, and for different reasons. And the research from Facebook across different countries says that top three factors why people play games, top three reasons, is number one, stress relief. Number two is passing time and feeling accomplished. So this is the perspective of the players. And there is a whole universe of different research papers outlining the benefits of gaming for certain areas, like improving the mental health, improving cognitive abilities of people. Well, basically, what we found out that overall gaming makes people happier. And a bit of science behind that, why people play games and why they are so popular and why they could capture your attention and why you're always returning back to some games that you play on a daily basis is the science behind that is called Zeigarnik effect, which is named after Russian psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik. So basically the essence of this effect is in incompleteness. So whenever we see something incompleted, like this puzzle here, and if we had other pieces of the puzzle, something clicks in our mind and we immediately try to complete this task. And this effect is applicable to almost everything whenever we are dealing with some incompleteness and with some challenges. So lots of companies, businesses utilize this effect, TV shows, interesting books, and and of course, all of the games and gaming world, they heavily utilize this effect, this concept. Another piece of science behind this gaming industry is the uh, taxonomy of gamers and types developed by Richard Bartle in the mid-90s. So essentially what he did, he divided all of the gamers into four categories: the killers, achievers, explorers, and socializers, where killers, they basically aimed at competing with other players, and the primary objective why they play games is this sense of competition and sense of defeating the competitors. Achievers, they are keen on collecting points and awards. Explorers, they like to explore. If this is a game with different levels, with different areas where you can go, they really enjoy the process of exploration and solving quests and tasks along the way. And the socializers, their primary objective is socialization and communication with other players. With that in mind, let's switch to the gamification, because this is a bit different. The gaming and gamification is two different concepts. So when we speak about gamification, the general consensus is that it is an application of game design elements for certain non-game contexts and certain objectives. Basically, when we take some principles of gaming and we try to apply it for educational purposes or for sales or marketing purposes, it all works really well. And basically, gamification helps us to achieve objectives in a more efficient, more engaging, and more fun way than some traditional ways of achieving these objectives. And the applications of gamification is huge, and the list of different areas and different industries and different objectives where we can utilize gamification is very long, and I have outlined a couple of I guess the most famous industries and objectives where gamification already taking place, and the internet has a lot of research and different cases described around marketing, sales, education, or when we try to utilize gamification for HR purposes, when we do training, when we want to do a team building. And socializing is one of the great aspects where gamification can really help. And this picture here is the depiction of so-called bridge game clubs. And it was one of the only ways for ladies in, I guess, at the beginning of the past century to socialize with each other and to spend time with each other. So lots of industries and lots of different other objectives where gamification can work really well. So there is a number of different elements that are required for gamification to be successful. It could be a combination of different elements, or we can use just one of these elements. But yeah, the list could be bigger, but these are the core elements that are required for a successful gamification. Obviously, the points, leaders board, different pages acknowledging the achievements of the participants, multiple stages and multiple tiers, levels where people could accomplish certain tasks and proceed to the next level. And obviously, if our gamification is time bounded, it stimulates people to accomplish the tasks quicker and actually trigger something that activates people. And of course, the rewards is an essential element of every gamification. When we're speaking about the different types of gamifications, it could be a competitive nature, it could be a collaborative nature. The gamifications could have a solo mechanics or a multiplayer mechanics. So let's think how we can prevent something like this happening at our events, and how we can utilize gamification to boost engagement and monetization. So here I wanted to share our experience, and we have attended lots of different virtual and hybrid events recently. And sometimes we really see that there are periods of time during events when nothing is happening, and attendees are not interacting with each other. They are not interacting with your content, with the platform. So essentially, they go and browse something, or they go to their email box or any other places. So we call this periods of time and engagement sinkholes. Typically, it usually happens within the breaks when we have 5 to 10 minutes of break, and sometimes we stare at this frozen screen with the countback timer, or just before the event when the session is just about to start and we have a couple of minutes left, we also see something like that. So we focused on these periods of time, engagement sinkholes, and we start thinking that probably something like this is not possible on a television, right? I cannot imagine a situation like this, let's say during a Super Bowl break, when the whole family is just waiting for something. So we thought that it might be a good idea to think how we can combine the game with sponsor, brand or product, or a story from a sponsor, and put some analytics behind that. And think how it could be embedded into the flow of the event. And essentially, it could be sold as a separate sponsorship package. And we think that it might deliver new experiences to the audience, and it could improve the engagement rate while driving leads and improving brand awareness for the sponsor. And of course, if we are able to sell it as a separate sponsorship package, it generates extra monetization for us. So let me show a couple of cases where we implemented this approach. So the first case is a Schulich Startup Night. It's a startup competition at Schulich School of Business. So essentially what we did during the break, we started sharing the screen, like you see here, with some ranking board and the QR code and the link that people could scan, or they could just use the link that we dropped into the chat. And then they are able to see a storytelling page related to the sponsor of this activation, the sponsor of this gamification. And in this case, it was Indochino brand. They sell men's suits and other types of clothes. So this was a short storytelling introduction about Indochino and their philosophy. And then we have created this word search grid with the words that were related to the products of Indochino, and you can see here casual wear, shirts, suits, and all different kinds of products that Indochino is having in their portfolio. So once people were done with the word search, they were able to see a special offer from the Indochino with the coupon code and the call to action button that they could click on and proceed to the website of Indochino. And at the very end, we got the ranking board with the results popping up in a live mode, and we got 5 winners, and they were awarded with their prizes from Indochino. So as a result, we had about 40% of the audience interacting with this exercise, which is not a huge number for this case, but it's also not a small number. I would say that if you are able to involve 40% of your audience, so they could spend over 2 minutes interacting with some content from the sponsor, and they will be checking out the text, the products from the sponsor, and then the sponsor will see some traffic flowing into their website. Compared to just simple frozen screen with the countback timer, I think this is a huge improvement and huge added value for the sponsor. And for the audience, of course, because it's interactive, it's engaging, it's fun, and at the same time, it's related to some content, to the offering from the sponsor. And in this case, the sponsor was happy, and the organizer was happy, and the audience was happy as well. And of course, we were happy as well because it worked out, and this kind of idea and the concept worked really well during this break. In the same way, we can utilize other gaming mechanics like assembling jigsaw puzzle. So in this case, it was York Entrepreneurship Development Institute with their incubator program. So in the same way, during the break, we could share the screen with the QR code, with the link, and people could proceed through it and read a short storytelling page. Then they could assemble a puzzle. In this case, we put the picture of the campus where this incubator program will take place. And yeah, in this way, people could assemble a puzzle, and it's a competitive exercise because whenever you're done, your timing will be displayed on the ranking board if you are within top 5 results. And in the same way, people could check the special offer from York Entrepreneurship Development Institute. In this case, they provided the audience with the button that leads to the page where you can apply for this program. And of course, we got the ranking board and the prizes and everything. So the next case where we can utilize not a gamification per se, but I think it's close to it because people were engaged with this activity of putting a pin on a map. And in the same way, you could have a separate tab on your virtual event platform, and that participants could click on it and see this interactive live map with the pins of other attendees popping up in the live mode, the QR code, the link. So attendees could just use their mobile device or use the link that is provided somewhere here, the button. They could check the special offer, the storytelling page. They could drop the pin, see the pins of other attendees, and at the very end, the organizers could use this map for promotional purpose as sort of a result of their event with the visualization of the distribution of the audience across different countries and different cities. So this is another way how we can utilize gamification for the virtual check-in process. And like I said, every gamification can be packed and wrapped up as a separate sponsorship package. In this case, we call it gamification partner of the event, and it could have different offerings within the package. It's just an example of what could be included into this package. So this is the approach that we utilize right now, and we find it very effective and efficient, and sponsors love it, and they love the fact that they could track the analytics on how many people were playing this gamification, how many clicks were made on this button, and lots of other different metrics. So to sum up what we have went through right now, the presentation, first of all, gaming is in our DNA, and it's actually good for all age categories, not just for kids. Like I said, there is a number of research papers saying that gaming is beneficial for cognitive abilities, for mental health, and it could be a great stress relief during the break for the participants who are bombarded with different content, with different offerings, with different networking possibilities, and sometimes it's great to have a couple of minutes of refreshing of your mind. Gamification can capture attention and create meaningful engagement, and as we've learned, Zeigarnik effect helps a lot to capture the attention of people and stick their attention and help to build meaningful engagement. Gamification can serve as a means to achieving different objectives. And we advocate that gamification for the sake of gamification probably is not the best idea if you're trying to embed it into your events. You always have to think about the final goal. Why do we do this gamification? And the examples that I have outlined before were targeted at promoting sponsors and their offers and building brand awareness for the sponsors. So there is always some kind of objective, whether it is a learning objective or promotional objective. And for these kind of objectives, a proper design of the gamification can really help to boost the results. And the last but not least is each gamification, like I said, can be sold as a separate sponsorship package. And as I've learned that the monetization at virtual and hybrid events, especially now during the era of pandemic, is quite challenging task. And I have built and designed many events, and I know for sure that it's hard to convey the value for the sponsor when you're dealing with virtual environments compared to in-person environment where you have a clear cost structure and it's quite understandable and transparent for everyone. But here, sponsors get their logo somewhere, they get their virtual stand somewhere, but probably we should be able to have additional opportunities to interact, to engage audience and help them to interact with sponsors' offers. So these are five key takeaways from my presentation, five key recommendations related to gamification. And what we did at Engamio, we actually started thinking about delivering this gamification to the world of business, to the world of business events. And we started thinking how we can create the technologies that can help to build meaningful engagement at different kinds of events and serve certain objectives and make people happier. So this is our motto. And with that in mind, I would like to wrap up our presentation and thank everyone for being with me here today. And thank you, Adam, again. So one last exercise that we have prepared for you, my colleague Adam can share the link in the chat that will lead you to a selfie booth where you can get this kind of a picture and it will be your takeaway from today's session as well. If someone will have any questions, we can always connect after the events, during this event, and I will be happy to address all of your questions, or maybe some of you want to discuss any other issues related to gamification. So we're quite open to any kind of collaborations, and yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your attention, for your time, and I will open floor to the questions.
Hi everybody, welcome back. Thank you, Dimash. Great presentation. Huge fan of engagement, and I've been using your selfie booth throughout the event and sharing it between attendees and the team and stuff. Great idea. We do have quite a few questions here, so I'm going to go in order of kind of like the most upvoted to kind of go through them. So, in your opinion, what do you think the best game is? What's the most popular game that Engamio offers to event organizers at the moment?
Well, I think the jigsaw puzzle is the absolute champion, like overall in the world. And again, this research from Facebook, they got the stats that, yeah, jigsaw puzzle is undefeated champion across different game types. But it always depends on how you want to design your gamification and what is the objective. So let's say if you want to introduce this gamification right in the middle of the session, when the flow of the session goes pretty smoothly, that will probably slow down the whole flow of the session, and it's probably not the right time where you want to introduce this puzzle. But the breaks are the best time when you can introduce this kind of a jigsaw puzzle game.
Yeah, it strikes me as well as we go back to physical events and those moments in time when people are kind of filling up in the stage areas. Quite simple to have a game or some slide to give them the opportunity to engage, maybe win a prize, do something. Those are all the times when people are on the phone anyway, right? They're kind of looking for something to do, so they're probably off on Twitter or LinkedIn or something like that. We might as well make it fun and relevant for them and give them something to do that's around the event, right? So I really like that
Absolutely.
idea. You've kind of already asked it. The next question was answered it. Sorry, the next question was when should I use a game like this at an event? So I think you've explained it, not necessarily through the middle of the presentation, in low lull times, around breaks, that kind of stuff. Where like the example you gave, where we're actually not giving anybody anything to do, right? It's just kind of like we'll be back, perfect time. Somebody's asking how many different game options do you have? How many different types of engagements do you currently have at Engamio?
Okay, so for now we have four types of engagers. So we call our solutions engagers because they're aimed to engage people. So we have four types. First is the interactive map. and it was one of the cases where I showed how it might work. Then we have the jigsaw puzzle, the word search board, and the fourth one is the selfie booth. And we, of course, this is just a warm up for us to build these four activations, and we're going to go further and build more gamifications that could serve different objectives, including networking. I think it might be a good idea to have a networking when you play certain gaming mechanics, and it helps you to network with others, and it helps to break down the ice. So we're also thinking about these kind of activations.
Yeah, I really like the icebreaker idea. I really like the icebreaker idea. Um, some people, one person said or made the comment that people need to take screen breaks. How have you dealt with that? You know, I think their point is that you're just taking people from one screen to another. What's your thoughts around that perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a fair comment for sure. Some people need to do that. Some people don't. So there is no a certain rule of how many time and when this kind of breaks for your eyes should be introduced during the flow. But I guess, yeah, like we said, there are different types of people attending our events, different types of mentality, different objectives. So some might find it useful to just switch off their computer and take a break, and some will find it better to interact with this kind of offerings and learn something more. So for some,
Yeah.
it's even better stress relief than just taking a break for their eyes. And there is also some research on that as well.
Yeah, some people actually find it quite hard to kind of like do nothing, right? They still want some kind of engagement. They still want to be active. It's just not necessarily looking at a screen and Word documents or the work aspect of it. It's giving a break and a rest from that and doing something that actually engages a different part of the brain, giving the other part of the brain a bit of time to rest. Um, and I think in the modern day, we're probably looking at either our laptop screen, our phone screen, our watch screen, or maybe the TV or something like that. So we're only switching from screen to screen to screen. Anyway, um,
Exactly.
and one final question: Is there somewhere? Is there somewhere that attendees can go to kind of test out more of these Engamio games and engagements? Are they on the website? Is it best to reach out to you through the platform? What's the best thing?
Yeah, our website actually we have the buttons there, and we have all the explanation about our engagers, and we have embedded these buttons there with the play text on it, so you can click and see how it looks like, how it might work. And yeah, you can always reach out to us, to me, to Adam, and we can provide you with a demo and think with you how we can utilize our product at your events.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Dimash. Very exciting developments I can see coming down the road for you guys. Thank you for coming and explaining some of the science behind engaging attendees. I think that's a really important point. To the attendees watching, if you liked what you saw, please do reach out to Dimash, Adam, and the rest of the team at Gamio through the platform. And we will see you in the next session. Dimash, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Adam. Pleasure to be here.